In today's video, I give my thoughts on intuitive training. What's going on, guys? It's Paul from ProPhysique.com, and today I have a question I'm going to answer that a client asked me. And when they asked it the first time, I thought to myself, well, that's a silly question, but I don't think it's so silly, because the more I think about it, I think it's probably something I've actually thought about. And the fact that I've been doing this for 20-something plus years means I've had a lot of mental progressions, and sometimes questions I hear I pass off because simply I've already dealt with that in my own mind. So we're going to discuss it today, and if you saw the title of the video, you know what it is. But I want to also mention, I did a video yesterday just kind of discussing the idea of training for beginners and what I thought that meant. And I mentioned in that video that I was going to do a training program for beginners for free. So I got a really good response in the comments. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with a training program for free for beginners. For very beginners. This is going to be descriptive of like what exercises to do, how to perform them, what days of the week to train, how to kind of progress as you go. And so I'm going to be working on that over the next couple days, and I'll get it posted and out for free. Look for that in the next couple of days. Thanks, guys, for the feedback on the idea of writing free training programs. I love coaching, and I can only coach so many people, you know, and so what I really want to do is work on a way that I can reach more of you, give away more stuff, and still provide high quality coaching for my clients, but you know, provide more value for you guys, because I think it's very valuable. And when I think back of all the resources I had growing up, you know, my journey might have been a little bit better if I had had somebody like me to listen to. So hopefully I'm providing value for some of you guys out there. You know, it's something that it would make me very happy to know that I'm just able to help someone along their journey in the fitness industry. Respect the Brahma Bull. You know what I'm talking about. All right, guys, let's talk about the topic for today. Today's topic is going to be the idea of intuitive training. Pros and cons, who should and who shouldn't. So what is intuitive training? Well, let me define what I believe intuitive training is. You go in the gym, you train, come home. The next day you go in the gym, you think, what should I train today? I trained legs yesterday, so intuitively I should train something else. That to me is intuitive training. Now, for a beginner, I think intuitive training can actually be pretty good. One of the things that are going to indicate to you that you should or should not train a muscle is going to be soreness. And a lot of times, beginners, when you train, you get a lot of delayed onset muscle soreness, or DOMS, and that can mean there's muscle damage there. Training that muscle group again might not be the best idea. So intuitively, if your biceps are sore as crap, maybe you don't train biceps that day. Maybe that day you train triceps or chest or shoulders or calves or quads or hamstrings or whatever muscle group it might be. So I think early on, intuitive training can be beneficial. Where do I think intuitive training might be less beneficial? When your goal is to become an elite athlete, to become the next level, the intermediate to advanced bodybuilder, physique athlete. This is where science-based approaches to programming, to periodization, to rest and recovery need to be implemented. I'm not a huge believer in the idea of overtraining, but when we're talking about resistance training and strength training, there are a lot of overuse injuries, all right? So when you start to get into something that's too high frequency, too high volume, too much intensity, that's where you can start to get into some injuries. And if you get hurt, you can't train at all. So your intuition might be wrong from that perspective. Also, I've seen and I've done some pretty high-level powerlifting programs. Now, mind you, I'm not a high-level powerlifter, but I've run Smolov, I've run daily undulating periodization, and I've gone into the gym feeling like crap. Intuitively, I knew that day I had to do 3 sets of 5 squats at 86% of my 1 rep max. These are just arbitrary numbers. And I looked at that paper and I thought, there's no freaking way. I am tore the hell up. But I got myself in the gym. I did my warm-up routine. I just got under the bar and said, let's do 1 rep at a time. Lo and behold, I got through that workout. Now my intuition would tell me not to train that day. However, I benefited and I made progress and I got stronger. So those are things that are necessary when you reach a higher level, an elite, an advanced, a more intermediate level. So the more advanced you get, the less intuitive training I feel you should do, with one caveat. You are a certified strength badass. You know exactly what you're doing. So you can go in the gym and intuitively train in certain percentage ranges. So now we're talking about auto-regulation. What does auto-regulation mean? That means the day that you go in the gym and you start warming up and that bar is moving like paper, and we've all been there before, like for whatever reason, on this day in the gym, everything's moving really fast. Intuitively, you can say, you know what? I'm gonna switch things around a little bit. I am going to, instead of my higher volume day with sets of 10, I'm gonna switch it up and find out what my 2 or 3 rep max is, because I'm feeling it move today. That's called auto-regulation. Now these are types of training models that are currently being studied. There are some studies showing that auto-regulation is actually very good for you. But again, it's not necessarily intuitive. It's auto-regulating because you know you're going to train one of 2 ways and you're just auto-regulating on that day. So for the advanced lifter, there are situations where you might consider it intuitive. I would call it more auto-regulation. But if we're just talking about purely intuitive training, going in the gym, walking in the door and thinking, what do I want to train today? Here's where I like that. I like that for people that are just starting out in the gym. For a situation where you don't want to feel the stress of going into the gym. I myself have done intuitive training when a competition prep has come to an end and I was on a strict schedule for month after month after month, and I did this body part on this day and this body part on this day. And when the competition was over, I still wanted to go to the gym, but I did not want those constraints on me. So I found I really enjoyed walking in the gym and looking at a machine and going, you know, I haven't used the hammer strength incline press in a few months. Let's do 5 sets of 10 on there and see how it goes, you know? And today's leg day and I usually squat, but I haven't done the hack squat in months. Let's put it on there and do some high reps and see how it feels. That type of intuitive training is something I highly believe in, especially when the structure of the training that you're doing can kind of wear you down. So you have to understand where you're at in your training cycle and pay attention, and it can be useful. So these are the situations where I think intuitive training can be useful and where it could possibly or potentially lead to injury or be a negative. Hopefully that makes sense, makes perfect sense up here in Paul's head. So, you know, the whole idea of intuitive training, I think it all depends on the person, and if you're being realistic with yourself and realistic with your goals. Self-awareness is a big one. If you're starting to feel so beat down going to the gym, doing the same workout every single day, maybe going in the gym and just doing what feels good and seems fun would be a good change of pace, and it might potentially lead to something good in the future. All right, guys, well, it's Wednesday. I'm gonna get back to work, back to the gym. Tonight, there is a conference in Tampa. It is called the Quito Conference, and it is over here at USF. So I'm going to be attending some of the events with my friend, Lauren Conlon. And I have some very cool friends that are in town, so I'll be talking to them as well. And hopefully I'll have something to report to you guys, some new information. I'm gonna be seeing some presentations, trying to stay abreast of all that is ketogenic. Hope you guys have an awesome Wednesday, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.